Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Every Story Matters. Today, in this special episode, I have got a guest who is not just a creator, but more like a brother to me. And we connected off the cuff and we vibe so much. And he's a guy who helps people landing their dream job, and he will talk more about it himself. So let's welcome Chirag. Hi, Chirag. How are you doing, man?
I am good, Sajjan. How are you?
Fantastic. So before we go on, any questions and all, just tell us a little about yourself. What do you do, and why are you doing what you're doing right now?
Sure. So I help people build careers that they absolutely love, and that starts with a job. But how I do that is by helping people lean into the power of people through communication and confidence. So the idea is that I believe that communication is one of the strongest skills that you
Yeah.
can own and hone both. And I have been able to get into rooms and companies which I had no business being
Wow.
in because of the kind of marks that I had gotten.
Yeah.
And but the opportunities that I got were amazing, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that I could hold myself,
Hmm.
communicate exactly who I am, what I bring, what I can do to for that organization in that role. And that helped me land jobs with some of the most iconic brands like BMW, like ESPN, and BMW across India and Canada. So
Wow.
across two different continents.
Hmm.
And Vogue, GQ, Cosmopolitan, Harper's Bazaar, etc. These iconic lifestyle brands. And somebody who came from like very, very, very poor marks. I mean, I'm talking about 30s, 40s,
Don't tell
not
me.
even. So yeah, I mean, at one point, that was the thing. Nobody believed that
No.
anything will happen in my career, nor did I. But the one skill I had was communication, and I could work hard, and then I could sell myself, and that's exactly how I was able to build my career. And I realized after a decade and a half of doing this that there are a lot of people who are like me and probably more talented than I am, who are better at what they do, but somewhere down the line it's the communication that takes a hit. And what happens is, because of the communication, there is lack of confidence.
Yeah.
So these are the two things that I help people with, and
Fantastic.
that's what I do. That's my jam.
Bro, I had no idea that, of course, we vibe so much on content creation, on brotherhood, but I had no idea we will be vibing on the lesser marks. Because what if I told you, bro, I was not even an average student, I was a below average student, right? Now the way I communicate in English is pretty good. But what if I told you in seventh, eighth, and ninth standard, I failed in my English test? And I come from Hindi medium Bihar board, okay? Barely I passed in my 10th standard, right? So well done. I mean, I had no idea
So,
that you would go through the same in mark stuff, right? It's
oh,
crazy.
100%, man. I think now we know that the deeper connection of the brotherhood originates from one
That
more
comes from the
source.
lesser marks as well. Great, man. A bit of your background, Chirag. Like, where do you
Yeah.
come from in India? Like, how did your journey start from India to Canada?
I'm an out and out Delhi boy,
Okay.
and been raised and brought up in Delhi.
Hmm.
And yeah, by the end of my college, third division, no decent B school would have me. At that time, I joined a BPO because that was the boom. And incidentally, I got a very cool gig over
Was it your
there, which
first
was
job, BPO, the first job?
the very first job that I did was a BPO.
Oh, same here.
And
What the hell? Okay, please carry on.
right. So
Crazy.
this
Yeah.
is uncanny, man. So it's either I'm living a younger version through you, or you are living an older version through me.
It's a
So
privilege. Carry on.
it's a privilege, man. So
Yeah.
and there I joined them as a voice and accent trainer. So it was not about helping people
Hmm.
speak in an accent, but it was nullifying the regional influences that we
Yeah.
have. That people from south and north,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have harsh consonants and their
Yes.
vowel sounds are different,
Yeah.
and then the mother tongue influence. So it was more about negating that. There
Hmm.
also, because like I am not somebody who is a bookworm at all. My
Okay.
entire idea was that if I'm able to train you to speak with clarity and confidence, you will pass and you will get onto the floor and you will start doing well. So I had
Yeah.
one of the best conversion rates because I would tell people
Wow.
small little things that they can do to continue the conversation, come across as likable. I think this is one of the most important things that people don't pay too much heed to, that if you're likable and you're somebody who is easy to work with, that
Hmm.
opens so many doors for you, man.
Oh,
So
yes.
that
Yeah.
was initially what I started off with. And then
Yeah.
there was an opportunity that I could go to do my master's, my MBA in England. I took that
Mm.
opportunity. I was an exceptional sportsman. I
Yeah.
have played basketball at national level as well.
No
So
way.
that got me some brownie points. And that got me enough brownie points to also pass out from one of the most reputed colleges in Delhi University, which is Hansraj.
Wow.
And, I think our idol, both our idol also studied from there, Shahrukh, right?
Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
so more things we are going to discover about each other. So,
Yeah,
anyways,
man.
cutting the long story short, that helped. There, I for the first time in my life, I got focused, and I was like, okay, you know what? Finance is not my jam. Numbers. So let's get into marketing, because marketing would be essentially about communication, talking to people, presenting, and
Mm.
your ideas, and a little more creativity. So that's exactly what
Yeah.
I did. Came
Mm.
back, started my career with India Today, jumped to Hindustan Times. Then I got a really kick-ass promotion and I joined Food Panda as the head of marketing.
Wow.
From there, within 3 months, I had an opportunity which came at BMW India. So I
Yeah.
left everything, ran there. I was like, this
Yeah.
is, I mean, come on, man, it doesn't get bigger than
It's
BMW.
it doesn't.
So
Yes.
I was there, and all through this while, the one thing that has left remained constant
Mm.
is the fact that I invested in people. I made good contacts.
Mm.
If somebody left my
Yeah.
organization, it wasn't as if I had completely lost touch with them. On
Yeah.
and off, I'd keep talking to them. So, incidentally, the person who'd got me the interview at BMW was the guy who I had started off working with at India
Wow.
Today. So he was working there. He said, "Listen, there is an opening in my team and I'm going to forward my resume to my boss if you're interested." I said, "Of course I'm interested. Who the hell is not going to be interested?"
Who wouldn't
Are you
be?
freaking
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah, man.
So,
Crazy.
I mean, that's what happens, man. You got to be likable, you got to invest in people. And like I
Yeah.
said, I had no business, zero automotive experience.
Wow.
Good at marketing, could hold myself
Yeah.
in sales, and without applying for a job, my resume was in front of the hiring manager. Went, nailed my interview, got it, and then Canada
Crazy.
happened.
Yeah. Wow. So many people have dreams of working with BMW, right? What would you say to them if they have a dream of working with them, and what should they do to prepare themselves for the same?
So, if you're somebody who is like me, who would not have automotive background, and you're insecure about the fact that your marks aren't good in everything, firstly,
Hmm.
nobody asks for your degree after your first job. That is it. They've forgotten. If BMW did a reference check on me, I would have never got a job there.
So
After that,
true.
you got to be very strategic,
Hmm.
because in the interviews you can't go and answer the same thing, right? I got to be different. So
Of
I
course.
did this when I went for my interview. Instead
Hmm.
of just looking up things on the internet, I went and visited dealerships, asked them that tell me which are the cars that sell the most, which are the cars that don't sell, what
Wow.
kind of problems do you face now, what type of problems does the customer come and ask you about.
Hmm.
So I had all that information. So when I went for my interview and they said, "Tell me about the brand," instead of just telling them about the brand, which I did a little bit, I said, "Okay, this is what I know about the company. This is what I know about the business.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
hiring me essentially
yeah.
to do a certain job. And if I
Yes.
can prove that to you in the interview without actually just saying the words, but also telling you
Huh.
that this is the car that you sell the most, this is the car that you don't sell, and this is
Hmm.
what is going to happen, this is the next model that you're going to launch." And he's like, "How
Right.
do you know this?" I said, "I went and spoke to so many people." How many people would go and talk to other people?
Not
So
many. Not
exactly.
many.
So
Yeah.
automatically I was part of the 1%.
Yeah.
And then because I had put in the hard work,
Hmm.
right? I'd done this. Then the idea was that I went in with confidence. I could
Yeah.
communicate very clearly that
Yeah.
what I can bring. So I
Hmm.
think that matters a lot. So anybody who wants to work not just for BMW, any of your dream companies, right? Because right now Apple is such a huge company, people
Of
would give
course.
their arm and a leg to work for
Yeah.
legacy brands. Go out, do things differently.
Hmm.
That
I
is the
love
world that we
I loved how you talked about the networking in the very beginning, right? You mentioned that
Absolutely.
only because you were connected with that ex-colleague of yours, he referred you, and not only referred you, but you eventually got the job, right? Why do you think, Chirag, is extremely important to network to land a dream job?
Because firstly, what happens is that, again, if I just let's build on the example that I shared with you,
Sure.
right? I got to know about that opening before anybody else got to know. Why? Because I
Mm.
knew somebody inside the company.
Yeah.
So there is this a lot of videos you will hear and see in the reels that there is a hidden job market. What is the hidden job market? Hidden job market is essentially about knowing about opportunities before they become public. So
Yes.
even when the job posting came out, I
Hmm.
still had a definite shot at the interview because somebody had referred my resume to the hiring manager and he said, "Yeah,
Hmm.
sure, bring him in."
Hmm.
So that is the power of networking, of getting to know. I think eventually you always want the first mover advantage.
Yes, of course.
That's number one. The
Yeah.
other thing, which I don't speak, I will speak about a lot as well. I
Sure.
asked him, tell me about the manager, what he likes, what he doesn't like. I was told that the guy who's going to be interviewing me is somebody who's hardcore sales professional. He
Wow.
only lives and breathes numbers in sales.
No way.
That's why it was very easy for me to go and ask the people who were there at the dealership, which are the
Yeah.
cars that you sell the most, which are the color combinations that you sell the most. So my answers were pretty much targeted towards the guy.
Targeted and
Again,
prepared. Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
don't know if you've ever got the opportunity to see the series Suits or not, Harvey Specter, who's
Are you
supposed
kidding
to
me,
be.
bro? I
Right,
am
of
Harvey
course.
Specter 2.0.
There you go. So you don't play the odds, you play the man.
You play the man. Yes. You play the
Right.
man.
So that's exactly what I did. I was like, okay, you want sales? I will give you sales. I will tell
Mm.
you how I do this. So
Yeah.
where else? ChatGPT is not going to give me that information.
Yeah.
The website is not going to give me that information.
No.
So
Absolutely.
even now, even if somebody, imagine this, that somebody who had interviewed for
Yeah.
that role, who had
Yeah.
automotive experience, but I'm
Yes.
speaking your language and I'm
100%.
coming across as a likable guy. So even if,
Yeah.
I am at 18 and he's at 20,
Yeah.
odds are even. And now,
100%.
because you like me, it is in my
Mm.
favor.
It surely is. I love the way you talked about likability and networking because networking has literally transformed my life in the last 5 to 6 months, right?
Tell me.
Literally, right? I shifted from Delhi to Bombay. It was not an easy decision, bro, like, because I come from Bihar, lived in Delhi for
Right.
8 years, and true story. If a guy lives in Delhi for at least a year, they cannot leave Delhi for sure, right?
No.
But for me, it was like so difficult for me to leave from Delhi, come to Bombay. And when I came here, it wasn't easy at all. See, you when you shift, it's already difficult. But when you shift from cities, it's more difficult. So my journey wasn't as difficult only because of networking, only because I knew some people, only because I had met some people through podcasts, through events, and my life became so much easier and better, right? And I loved how you talked about likability. Give our audience three most important things that they make them absolutely likable in job interview and everywhere.
I think the first and the most important thing, and it's like preaching to the choir or the expert. You're the one who does this. Communication is 95% firstly about your body language, right?
Of course.
So, how do you enter the room? Are you being fidgety? This and that.
Yeah.
So, that has to be very, very strong because that's the
Mm.
first impression that you make.
Yeah.
So, play the part, wear the right kind of clothes
Yeah.
to the interview, right? Dress sharp because that will automatically make you look sharp
Yeah.
and feel sharp.
Mm.
So play the part, go in with that. And a firm handshake is a must. And it is something which will never go out of fashion, right?
Mm.
No limpy
Oh.
handshakes.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, maintain eye contact and smile. Because when you smile, it just shows that yeah, you're very self-assured, you're not nervous. One
Yeah.
of the things that I would definitely do, and I tell all my mentees as well, is that start talking to strangers, random people 2 days before you're supposed to give the interview. Because a lot of people, what they do is, if you
Hmm.
remember, and I mean, less marks, so we'll remember this,
Yes, yes,
that
yes, yes.
2 days before the exam used to
Yeah.
be kappa band, and now I am just studying, right? And
Yes.
now what you're expecting is you'll go to the exam, turn it on. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
Those scripted answers are different. But here you're supposed to talk to people. If I'm penting up all my energy, suddenly I'm going and I will not be able to turn that button on. I
Yeah.
need to have that warm up session. Like
100%.
Virat Kohli also does knocking before he goes and
It
starts
does.
playing the
Yeah.
match, right? So
Yeah.
go talk to a stranger, talk to a coffee barista, ask the
Mm.
person that, a barista, ask
Yeah.
them, how's your day going, this and that.
Yeah.
That's something that is important.
I love it.
Um, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you agree to that?
100%, man. Starting the conversation randomly with the random people and strangers is one of my go-tos, right? So I was in Dubai in October and I told myself I was going to talk to at least five strangers every single day, at least five. I was there for 10 days and I ended up talking to at least 50 to 60 people in the 10 days. And what if I told you, out of the 60 people, 50 people, I've got so many amazing connections, right? And
I'm not surprised.
no, right? Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm in the lift and I see an opportunity, I say hi. Let me tell you, simplest way to start a conversation. Hey, how's the day going? Like, what worse can happen? बुरा क्या हो जाएगा? What worse can happen?
कुछ नहीं हो.
कुछ नहीं होगा, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I love it. I
And
mean, starting the conversation is so important. Yeah. Anything else you want to share about
100
likability?
two
Yeah.
two small nuggets there as well. Like you said, I think you said it rightly, that where is the pressure? You want to make a first impression, right? And
Yes.
at the same time, again, my
Yeah.
I mean, I have sports running in my blood because
Yeah.
both my parents are sports teachers. I'm an ex-sportsman. So the idea is you put in the reps. Right.
Yeah.
And how do you put in the reps initially? Also, you need to feel out the environment. So throw the
100%.
question at them, start making them talk. How's
Yes.
your
Yes.
day going?
Yeah.
Right? Have you had a busy week? Is there an interesting project that you've been working on which has kept you busy?
Yeah.
Something like that. Let them speak so that
Yeah.
you're finding your comfort zone. That's a great
Absolutely. There are
tip.
many people in the world, Chirag. I would say 80% people who do not have real human beings to talk to. It is getting crazier and crazier, especially these days, especially AI coming in. I
Absolutely.
always say that today's world is deprived of good listeners and somebody whom you can sit and have a conversation. So if you're going eventually starting a conversation, तुम उस पे एहसान कर रहे हो. You're doing एहसान on them.
Exactly.
Eventually you're doing
Exactly.
on yourself for sure, but that person will feel most of the time that start the conversation, let's go, right? I love it. Talking about having likability, I have got a very important question. Have you always been this charismatic and likable, always, or you were struggling and how you came out of it?
So, listen, I think with the marks, one thing, I don't know what your journey was with that. There was a very inane and undertone of insecurity that never left me, because at some point in time, because of the obsession with degrees and marks, especially in
Hmm.
our country,
Sure.
you always felt like an outsider, as somebody who would not account too much.
Hmm.
Right. So I always operated from that insecurity, and the idea was to nullify that. And one of the things that I knew was that if I am genuinely, if I come across as a decent guy, because
Hmm.
you can easily make out everybody in this world is smart enough to know when you're buttering
Sure.
somebody up,
Yeah.
and one when you're genuinely nice.
Yeah.
Right. So, and sports, again, I had mentioned this. Sports was something which made me develop this skill, because when you sports is also about, I used to play basketball, so it's a team
Yeah.
sport,
Yeah.
right? At the same time, while I was there from a public school representing Delhi, we had
Hmm.
people from villages and government schools uh,
Hmm.
coming and playing for the same team. We had to play as a
Hmm.
team to win. So we
Hmm.
won and lost together. So
Yeah.
at this, I was able to talk to people who had the same privilege as me, some
Yeah.
people who had more privilege than me, and some
Hmm.
people who are lesser privileged than me. So I
Yeah.
think that ways I was able to just manage and figure out my space within all that. So
Yeah.
that's where I think the skill got developed.
Hmm.
And other than that, I was like, okay, yeah, till the time I don't ruffle anybody's feathers and go and poke them the wrong way, I
Yeah.
should be fine.
Absolutely. I love it. You know, in the field of getting the dream job, you kept
Yeah.
mentioning about communication skills, right? So let's say if somebody is going for the job interview after a month or 15 days later, what would be your top three communication advice for them?
Number one, practice, 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 practice.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times people think that I'm going to wing it. I'm just
Hmm.
going to talk about my stuff, which I've already done. It's not
Yeah.
about freaking winging it, man. The
Hmm.
best speakers, Yasir Khan, our
Hmm.
common friend,
Yeah.
right? And let's even go to a person who's probably a bigger global icon. I don't
Hmm.
know if how much do you follow Alex Hermosi or not,
I love
but
him. Yeah.
right, technically, if you've seen 50 of his videos, you know a common theme and trend that is coming out of it.
100%.
He has said that on so many stages, so many videos repeatedly,
Hmm.
that now it is next practice. I
Yeah.
mean, so it's that's natural that
100%.
comes out. So my idea is that I tell my mentees, if I call you at 3 o'clock in the morning and wake you up from your sleep and tell you to tell me about yourself, you should be able to say that answer to me with the right pauses, with the right smile, with the
Yeah.
right pitch.
Yes. I
That's how
love
much
it.
you need to actually put in the work. And
Hmm.
it is so goddamn easy right now.
Hmm.
Record yourself, watch the video, see
Hmm.
your expressions, because we
Yeah.
spoke about the first thing is body
Of
language.
course. 100%.
Understand
Yeah.
that where are you getting scared or nervous and
Yeah.
where am I not vibing?
Yeah.
Then just listen to your voice, because there's so many things that happen on the phone or digitally. Let's say the connection is bad.
Yeah.
Then what do you do? Then your voice has to do the
Hmm.
heavy lifting. So
Yeah.
that modulation is going to be important. So the first and the most important thing is practice.
Hmm.
And I'll take a step back. Before that, the answer is the idea is to be concise. Break it
Okay.
down. We're living in a world where 3 seconds decide whether you're going to watch my video or not. First 3 seconds.
Yes.
That's the amount of patience people have.
100%.
So in an interview you get 30 seconds, but
Hmm.
within that also I feel that first 10-15 seconds is when you can actually nail it or break it.
Yeah.
After that it's just about keeping the person hooked. Again, you believe in the power of storytelling, so do I. We
Yes.
break it into a story, give examples, don't just say that, oh, I did this, I did that. No, what was, I mean, I love explaining it like this, which is my Carl format: context, action, result, learning.
Okay.
कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज कि भाई कंपनी में आग लगी हुई थी, ताला लगने वाला था, सब कुछ खत्म होने वाला था, राइट? पेंट दैट शिटिएस्ट पिक्चर. देन
I
देयर
love
इज
it.
एक्शन, which is
Ah.
हीरो की एंट्री. यू एंटर. तो
Hmm.
तुमने क्या किया, मैंने ये प्लान बनाया, मैंने ये किया, एंड
Yes.
द फोकस इज मी, आई. इट इज योर
Yeah.
इंटरव्यू, नॉट द टीम वर्क,
No
राइट?
way. Yeah.
देन
Yeah.
जो
Yeah.
आपने वो सारा एफर्ट किया था, उसका रिजल्ट क्या था?
Yes.
वो
100%.
आपका रिजल्ट आ गया. एंड देन द आइसिंग ऑन द केक विच यू नो एज अ रिमाइंडर व्हेन यू हैव टू लाइक लुक एट द बिगेस्ट stand up comedians, how they will start with a joke and end with that joke, right? So
Yeah.
they connect that. So learning is what the corporate jargon then you throw at people, that, oh, you know what, teamwork is how we develop clear communication, transparent communication,
Yes.
having no bottlenecks, and all that corporate jargon throw at them.
Yeah.
They'll be eating out of your hands.
I love it. I love it. I'd like to go a little back, right? We were talking about networking, bro, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was, I started being confident in the last 6 to 9 months, but I had this fear. Oh, what if I fail? What if people make fun of me? And what if I don't get respond? Now, mindset has completely changed, but I'd like to ask you this question. Let's say if there is a guy or a girl who wants to go to these networking events and talk to people, right? And they have this insecurity, they're nervous. What would you tell them? Or what would be your best advice for them to go and build network out there?
Firstly, don't go to networking events straight away. You're trying to cross a fire when you are not even ready for step one. Step one, start having individual conversations. Have the same conversation with 20 people over Zoom, over Teams, over a phone call, and once you've mastered that idea of the pitch of, this is who I am, this is what I do, and
Yeah.
you've been able to build that muscle, then next step is that when you're ready for a bigger audience, you straight away don't go onto a stage, and you don't go on to, you've given a TED talk, so you know this. You straight away have not gone and given a TED talk. There were
No
so many
way.
other
Yeah.
stages that you went on to
Mm.
when the stakes were not as high as the TED talk,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So
Yes.
likewise, straight away, why do you have to say that, okay, I'm going to go and wow somebody at a networking event? Firstly, meet 20 people, make that one-on-one connection.
Yeah.
If you're able
Agree.
to do that, that will set you up for the bigger performance. Same चीज
Yeah.
ना, इंडिया खेलने से पहले रणजी तो खेलोगे.
100%. I agree. I agree. We were discussing prior to our podcast about audacity,
Yes.
about just asking. Tell me why audacity is important, how people can be more audacious when it comes to networking.
See, I think firstly, somebody, this is a very incomplete sentence as well.
Okay.
Audacity is not a one-time thing.
Okay.
You have to be audacious through and through,
Of course.
repeatedly over and over again,
Yeah.
because in whatever we do, I mean, whether it is jobs, whether it is meeting people and the network you have, I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest, there's so many people who haven't responded to you and I when we've reached out to them,
No, they haven't.
right?
Yeah.
So we usually don't talk about it, and it's not that we are trying to hide it, but the fact is that rejections are going to be there.
Mm.
Again, my idea is very simple. When I help, when I mentor my mentees or
Mm.
coach them, you will take a 10 is to 1 ratio. You're going to reach out to 10 people, one is
Mm.
going to respond.
Mm.
When 10 people respond, one is going to meet you.
Yeah.
If your conversion is higher, you're
Yeah.
doing a fantastic job. If it is lower,
Yes.
then let's figure out what your strategy is.
Hmm. I love it.
So
Love it.
I think as far as audacity is concerned, and audacity is what, man, that you need to have confidence in yourself. पूरी दुनिया पड़ी है तेरे को मेरे को बताने के लिए that we are not good enough.
Yeah, of
कम
course.
से कम अपने आप को तो बोल दो that you are good enough.
Yes,
And
yes.
how does that come in? When you're doing stuff on a regular basis, you
Mm.
build that confidence.
Yeah.
So I think audacity from that matter is essentially something, that brave decision that you have to take over and over again
Yeah.
while facing rejections. That's really what, for me, audacity is.
Yeah. I love it. Going back, I love how you talked about having the one-to-one conversation first before going to the event, right? One of the worst mistakes that I used to make, that I would go to any and every networking event without researching and without understanding what will I get out of it.
Mm,
And I would just go and meet some people that were, not my type, and I wasted so much of my time, right? And coming back from the point of audacity and talking about people networking, I'd say people can go one step back and they can start reaching out to people as much as possible, right? We are
100%.
sitting here only because I reached out to you, right? Almost
Absolutely,
a
man.
year ago, right?
Yeah.
You did the podcast with our friend Yasir Khan, right? Great guy in communication, one of the best guys out there. And I saw the podcast, and the only reason I contacted you because I loved your ability to connect, ask questions, and hold the conversation. And I was like, come on, man, he's my type guy. I'm just gonna ping him. I pinged you, and you being kind and generous and being very open replied, and we've been chatting for the last 1 year, and finally we are here only because of networking, right? And I'm
Absolutely.
sure this conversation holds much more opportunities for you and me in the future coming up, right? In some way or the other, right?
We've been vibing like crazy. There's so many things that we're going to be doing. I can only imagine
Yeah, yeah,
what the future holds for us, man.
yeah,
100%.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, now let's get a little bit into the interview wala part, because that is
Hmm.
where you help people, right? And hey,
Hmm.
when we're starting our podcast, you mentioned a beautiful line, a tagline about yourself. What was that? You help.
I help people build careers, not just land jobs. Because I think, this is my journey as well. That after having worked for so many iconic brands, I quit my goddamn job, man. Reason being because I was aching to create a bigger impact. And if I was to peel all the layers, what I didn't mention is that I never wanted to be in marketing. I never wanted to
Wow.
do any of these things that I eventually ended up doing. I wanted to be a sports show anchor. I wanted to be on TV. and I couldn't get it. And I got rejection, and I took that one rejection as a no, and for a like a forever rejection, right?
Mm-hmm.
That sent me on a 16-year pivot
Oh,
where I went down this road of trying to be somebody who I wasn't. So I had to put in extra amount of work, and somebody who didn't have the marks, who didn't um, somewhere I was not fully into it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was committed to the cause. So
yeah,
while having not everything on my heart into it, I still was able to achieve all the things that I did. Now,
yeah.
if I was to do this, this is like natural to me, man. This is my space that I wanted to be in. That's why I think it
Mm,
comes from that space of genuinely helping that younger Chirag, younger version of Chirag who wants to build a career. So my job is the reason why I said I don't just help you land jobs, I help
mm.
people build extraordinary careers is because I want to put the spotlight on and say
Yeah,
that are you going in the right direction?
yeah.
If you're not, let's hold. Let's think and
Absolutely.
re-strategize and recalibrate where you want to go so that you don't end up wasting 5, 10 years. So
Yeah.
that's where it comes from, man.
I love it. I know when you have somebody who's already quote unquote wasted and not wasted, I would say implemented and given their 5, 10 years, why the hell would you waste the same, right? And I think that's where
Yeah.
the mentorship, the real mentorship comes in play, right? People keep asking me all the time, why would people pay you, right? You are too young, right? And I'm telling you, I get this all the time. Sachin, you look too young. I'm like,
So,
of course
so
I
what
am.
is the answer? I'm keen to know the answer.
Like what? Answer this question?
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I tell them, oh, see, let's say if somebody tells me, Sachin, you look too young, so how could you charge this much? For example, I'm like, you haven't seen me 8 years grinding, bro, right? I started my journey 8 years ago where I was invisible. I was shy, introverted kid, and believe it or not, I hated people. I hated being with people. I hated conversation. Every time I would go to these events or these parties, I would just sit in the corner, stand in the corner, like, please don't talk to me. I just came here to eat food. That's it. And I thought I would never be able to make it. But that as I was talking about mentorship, there were so many people that went to ask for help, and um, when I went and asked for help, eventually I got one, right? So, we'd like to ask you the same question on the same, right? That people are afraid of asking for help when it comes to their jobs or interview, whatever. So, what recommendation would you have for them, the ones who have the fear, कि यार, I shouldn't ask for the help? What do you tell them?
If you ask, you might just get help. And if you get help, you might just get more information, which is going to be maybe beneficial, maybe not.
Yeah.
But there is every possibility that reaching out can have an upside to it. Not reaching out, you know what the situation you're in. So it
You
is
want to get
entirely
it.
up.
You will never get it if you don't ask. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the most important thing is here again, it comes back to this that are you hungry enough
Yeah.
to get there? Like, dude, I was
Mm.
not letting BMW slip out of my hands any
Yeah.
freaking way whatsoever. That
No
was
way.
my moment of glory because I wanted to be that guy
Mm.
who got a third division in college and still worked for one of the biggest brands. So that meant that I had to do everything that I possibly could under the sun
Yeah.
to make myself stand out. So if your commitment to your cause is
Mhm.
that big, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, the right people will come your way.
Mhm. I
And
loved, I loved it how you talked about standing out, right? So let's say if I go for the job interview after 15, 20 days, what are the things, or maybe one or two things I can do to stand out from other candidates?
like I said, I think the no-brainer is just to be able to make sure that you
Mm.
understand, you structure your answers and you're able to
Yeah.
speak to these really well. The other thing,
Sure.
it again goes back because we are connecting the dots, networking.
Yeah.
Imagine this, that
Yeah.
if I am applying for lack of better example, BMW only. If I've
Mm.
gone and spoken to 5 people,
Yeah.
one from Mercedes, one from Audi, one from Hyundai, one
Yeah.
from Maruti.
Yeah.
right? And just asked them about what the landscape is in the Indian automotive, then understood
Mm.
from the Mercedes and the Audi guys that how is the luxury marketing working. Don't give me confidential information, but just tell me things about what's
Yes,
happening,
yes. Right, right.
right?
Mm.
Now I go in with so much more perspective and I can turn the interview into a conversation. And my
Mm.
entire thing is that if you have a conversation with me, there is a stronger chance of me impressing you rather than just giving you bookish knowledge. If I throw industry numbers at you, current trends, what is happening, imagine asking people how is AI impacting your work and what are the AI tools that you are working on, going and telling, yeah, this is something I can do, this is what I can do. So those things automatically give you the edge despite the degree that somebody else
Yeah.
will have.
Mm.
Because until and unless you are from like an IIM or somebody else after the top 10 B schools,
Yeah.
every degree is the same. Then it is about the person,
Hmm. Right.
right? I can have somebody do just a damn good job of the analysis using AI who's 10 times smarter than I am.
Yes.
But you
Absolutely.
know what? If I can speak, I will get to present to the board. And you
Hmm.
know what happens? That when you present to the board the next time, the people are like, okay, who was that?
Yeah.
So, you can be as good as you are, but
Yeah.
if I have gone and presented, because at some level our knowledge is going to be the same. I
Yes.
would have rehearsed and practiced those answers so that I don't get stumped during the
Yeah.
presentation. But if
Absolutely.
I'm going and presenting, dude,
Hmm.
I'm getting brownie marks. It's not the hardest working. It's not the guy who's burning the midnight oil who always gets the promotions and everything. It's the
Yeah.
guy who is the most visible. And
Yeah.
communication is the reason why you'll close and stay behind. That you'll be like, oh यार, अगर वो मेरे को मिल गया मैं उसको क्या बोलूंगा? इसकी
Hmm.
वजह से तुम्हारे को साली प्रमोशन नहीं मिलने वाली?
Oh
Hट.
God. This
I
is
mean, can you imagine what a I listen, I don't mean to demean anybody because you know that this is a problem that you solve on a daily basis. You help people
sure.
shine,
Yeah.
right? But imagine that they have so much of talent and what is holding them
Yeah.
back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just not being able to communicate? No, man,
Yes.
come on.
I have seen, bro, I have seen so many people so having so much talent, right? So much passion about the work they are doing, right?
Yeah,
But the only reason that they are not getting ahead in the career, they are not getting the promotion and the visibility is because they're too afraid to talk. Is because they
yeah.
don't have frameworks to talk. Is because they don't have somebody to guide to, right? And let me tell you the worst part, bro. Worst part. Even if people know कि मुझे काम करना है कम्युनिकेशन पे, they do not start soon enough. They wait till the end. भाई प्रमोशन अभी आने वाला है तो अरे ठीक है ना, I'll start after 3 months, right? That's the worst mistake that I have made that I've seen people making. What would you tell them who waits too long to improve their communication and storytelling skills?
I mean, either you can be bitter or you can be better. The choice is yours.
Yeah,
If you would delay it, you're going to end up being bitter
yeah,
because it's not just with communication, it's the same thing with networking as well. Networking doesn't happen, or you don't need to start networking when you want the goddamn job. You
yeah.
should be networking when you already have that job and you should be applying and planning about your next
Yes,
move 1 or 2 years before that. Just having random, like, give you one tip. If let's so LinkedIn is the best professional network. There are
yeah.
people who you haven't spoken to in
Hmm.
forever. Probably you had asked somebody something, they sent you a reply, and you haven't responded. This over the next 3 4 days is the best time to go back and say, "Hey, happy New Year. Hope you've had a great year. Sorry I missed out. Hope you've got hope you
Yeah,
had a
yeah,
great 2025. Any plans? What are your goals for 2026? Something like that. This is the best time to start your conversations and rekindling those
yeah.
conversations again, because it's the same thing. What will happen is in a job you'll get overlooked for a promotion, or whether it's an interview that you will not get, and
Hmm.
you're then, because then you're desperate. Okay, you know what, I didn't get that promotion, I now am going to go and find a new job. And
Yeah,
then the same struggle will start. There is consolidation happening because of AI. There is more competition. You probably are at a higher position, so your uh, pool of jobs is also less. Then what do? You need to be
yeah.
knowing people at the right places so that they can tell you that, yeah, I'm going to refer you, so
Of
that you are
course.
definitely guaranteed an interview. And then when you're talking to people, you don't
Hmm.
need to prepare for interviews. You just need to understand what's happening in this. Of course, a little bit of
Yeah,
knowing how to sell yourself.
of course.
That's all that is required, man.
I love it. I feel that the more visibility you get, the more credibility you get, right? And there's a simple thing in business that your visibility plus credibility equals profitability, right? So,
I love
right?
that. Say that
So,
again.
yeah, your visibility plus your credibility equals profitability,
I love that. Yeah,
right?
100%.
In your case, you have been creating so much of contents on interviews and cracking the job and preparing for the job interview. That's your visibility. Your credibility is something that you have invested years building who you are,
Abs-
and all the
True.
results and accolades that you've had, and then eventually you are getting a lot of clients, your profitability. In my case, I have been posting a lot of contents on Instagram about storytelling and communication. That's my visibility. I have been very much visible. I've been going on
Yeah.
all these podcasts, TED Talk, and then this credibility, of course, credibility has come from the TED Talk, the podcast, and all the results that I've got, right?
And
And
the
then
8 years
eventually,
of grind that you've gone through, man.
oh, come on. Yeah, it's been 8 years, man. People don't believe it, right? It's been 8 years,
Right.
right? Right. So,
And that's why your age then is not a barometer whether you're going to be able to help people or not,
yeah.
because you've got 8 years of experience in this one particular field. You're the
Oh,
subject
yes.
matter expert.
Oh, yes. That's right. That's right.
You
That's why when
failed more
people
times than people have tried.
100%, I tell them all the time. Like if they tell me that you look too young, I'm like, of course I am. Thank you for that. But I have put together 8 years of my life learning only one skill, right? I did not go for anything else other than communication and storytelling. It wasn't easy for me. I mean, when I had gotten back from the US, imagine a Bihari bacha going to the US and coming back, a huge expectation कि भाई अब तो लाख रुपए महीने के आने वाले, right? But when I came in 2020, the COVID had hit so bad and I did not have a job. And all the expectation that I had from my mom, from my family, relatives कि भाई अब तो बहुत ही कुछ, खतरनाक होने वाला है. I'm like, I don't have a job. And then when I started making the videos on English and communication and storytelling, people would ask me, "Say, kya ho jayega? Like, why would you do so? Just go and apply for this railway. No disrespect to that. All these jobs." I was like, no, I think I'm going to make something out of it, right? So I understood that, 5, 6 years ago only, that if I stay long enough, I will definitely make it. I started creating contents in June 2020, bro.
Yeah.
मतलब
Wow.
जो लोग अभी, नो डिसरिस्पेक्ट, बट अभी जो लोगों ने अभी मान लो कि 2 महीने 3 महीने कंटेंट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, दे आर बीइंग सो इम्पेशेंट, भाई ग्रोथ नहीं हो रहा है, right? I'm like, you have to stay long enough on the field, right? So about your content creation, when you said you've been posting a lot of contents on, Instagram about interviews and stuff, right? If I have to ask you, what is your one go-to interview tip that will almost guarantee getting the job?
See, a lot has to go right
Yeah.
when you go in for that interview. That it's like a form as well. You need to be on form,
Mm.
because there can be one question and then you're completely derailed. I
Yeah.
think if I was to connect the dots, these conversations, networking conversations that we spoke about, where you're
Yeah.
essentially talking about yourself, because at some you will be introducing yourself and everything, right?
Of
So
course, of
those
course.
conversations that you've had multiple conversations, then you've
Yeah.
got done networking, and then when you go for that interview, it's
Yeah.
just about repeating that entire thing one more time. I think that the first 5 minutes are the most critical
Mm.
when you enter the room, because that's when you're being judged the most. So the
Yeah.
one thing that you definitely need to be able to address is read the job description, understand what the
Mm.
hiring manager wants, because the hiring manager is the one who's going to decide your fate. And
Yeah.
you need to then figure out that how can I convince the other person that I can make your life easier,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and then work your answers from there. I
Mm.
don't want to know where you did your school, college from, right?
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
had 5, 6, 7 years of experience, that
Yeah.
is great. But
Mm.
tell me more about what you've done in your job, which will make you a rock star over here, which
Yeah.
means that my life is going to be easier as a manager.
Mm. Yeah. Of
I
course.
think that is something that, and it's about again playing the man and not the odds,
Yeah. Yeah.
wherein just focus on what you can bring to your to
Hmm.
that role. Focus
Yeah.
on your strengths. At that time, forget your weaknesses.
Hmm.
Focus, double down or triple down on your strengths.
I
That
love
ये
it.
मैं ऐसी चीज करता हूँ कि ये तो कोई और कर ही नहीं सकता इतनी अच्छी. So
Hmm.
if you're able to sell that to me, that's 50% or at least 60% of the job done, because then I will check you for your
Yeah.
behavioral skills, etc., etc. But the
Yeah.
heavy lifting is, are you the right fit or not? And
Hmm.
how do I get to know? If you give me action proof points that
Yeah.
I've done this project, I've done this is my achievement, and this is how I go and achieve results. So if you can show that in a clear,
Yeah.
concise manner, that's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that candidates make when they go for the job interview?
Too much of yapping, man. You
Hmm.
missed the point. There is a lot of we are not in the moment. It's about, a lot of times what happens is that people are just thinking about either the next question that
Yeah.
is going to come, or they you want to pack in too many details. And
Yes.
yes, can I suggest something? And I will be putting out a reel on this at some point as well, and I know I'm going to get crucified for this.
Tell me about it.
With no disrespect, I just feel that people in, and especially our culture, our people, our
Hmm.
community,
Yeah.
we bring in a lot of drama into everything that we do. Business is not about drama. I Any business, eventually you're helping people and you're giving them an opportunity to shine. All
Sure.
that you're doing, eventually the goal is to make money out of this, right?
That's the end
That's your,
goal.
that's
Yeah.
the end goal, right?
Yes. Yes.
And as much as you possibly can. Everybody does this. In
Yeah.
a job, I want to earn as much as I possibly
Of
can.
course.
I don't want to know how hard your life has been.
Hmm.
I don't care what hand you're dealt with.
Yeah.
Somebody who's worse off than you is doing better. Somebody who's better off than you is doing worse.
Yes.
Cut the bullshit. Leave that
Yes.
story out. Whatever your emotional baggage is, that
Hmm.
is not to be brought to the workplace.
Hmm.
Cut the drama. Focus on strengths.
Yeah.
Objectively, I will not do. Okay, I will. You can have my sympathy, but you
Yeah.
can't have the job that I have.
No, you can't. You can't.
So focus. This the biggest mistake is that in order to come across as likable,
Hmm.
we play that card of being emotional, and we try to get into that emotional aspect of the
Hmm.
person, where I'm like, I'm struggling this and that. Are chhodna yaar.
Hmm.
You want somebody. Listen, when who do you want in your company? You want a Harvey Specter,
Of course, you
right?
want the Harvey Specter.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You want the closer. You want somebody who's going to make life easier, who's going to
Yeah.
get you more business, who's going to
Yeah.
get shit done. And
Yeah.
as a hiring manager, the lesser you make me work, the better I want you to be in my team, the
Yeah.
more I want you to be in my team. So this
100%.
is, I believe that we just focus too much on the backstory, and
Hmm.
we try and give too much information. कि नहीं जरूरत यार, ज़्यादा बोलते हो, clarity and confusion create होती है. Sorry, lack of clarity and confusion create.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I agree. I
Right.
agree.
Be short, be precise, focus,
Hmm.
laser focus. What value can you add? That is all that you need to focus on.
Yeah, I love it. Being precise while giving your answer is so important. And you're right. Yes, storytelling matters, but one of the worst mistakes that people make is they think for their story to be heard, they have to share something very emotional, something that they
Yes.
have been through, like, sorry to say, but cancer wala thing, I mean, you
ये
don't
करण
have
जौहर
to.
की पिक्चर नहीं है यार.
No, it's not. People give a damn about whether you can get the job done or not. The simplest thing. Remember that from there's a wonderful scene from The Suit when Harvey hires, another
Mike Ross.
secretary, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When Donna goes, right? So
Yeah.
so there is a girl who comes, right, who says, "I'm charismatic. Look at my resume, and all this that," and she looks pretty beautiful as well, right? And she said, "Okay, I'll get back to you." Then somebody comes in, right? Forgot the name by the way, and Harvey asks simple question: "How long have you been a legal secretary?" She says, 24 years. He asks, "Are you good at what you do?" She says, "I'm great at what you do. You're hired." नो बुलशिट नो स्टोरी नथिंग उनको पता है भाई जिन्होंने 24 साल से for 24 years somebody has worked they will get the job done, right?
Absolutely, man.
Right.
Absolutely. And I
So
think you deal with this as well, right? Because you
yeah,
teach people on storytelling. So this is again, storytelling is not literally storytelling.
it's
कि
not.
मैंने यहाँ से शुरू किया था. No, no, no. For me,
It's
that's
not.
why I say storytelling is examples. This
It is.
same, the Carl format that I use, that, okay, what is your strength? So then
Yeah.
instead of telling me that this is your strength, talk about the fact that how this was a problem. This
Yeah.
is what I did. This is what I did. So my strengths are
Mm.
communication, going and talking to people, aligning, taking people along with me in the journey, getting their
Yeah.
buy-ins,
Yeah.
and having that analytical ability, being able
Yeah.
to keep everybody informed. That's
Mm.
what my strength is now. Instead of,
Yeah.
so this is how you actually sell that. And
Yeah.
that's really what storytelling in a job interview sort of an
100%.
environment is. That
Absolutely.
examples, that's
Hmm.
what you want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Man, I love all the answers that you've shared about interview and networking, conversation. It's like we are sitting, in like in offline, we're having the conversation,
Absolutely, man.
some people told me that when you do the podcast, avoid doing online podcast. But I'm not gonna avoid it because if I can get some people like you, I think it's better than offline podcast, It's
There's so many people that you will have access to because Sachin, there's so many. I mean, imagine. So we're doing this. I'm sitting here in Toronto. You're in Mumbai. I
yeah,
mean, the online world gives us this opportunity, right? And
yeah,
there'll be so many cooler people that you're gonna be
yeah.
talking to, whether it's from Australia,
Absolutely,
America,
yeah. I
or
would love
wherever it is
to.
in the world,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I mean, the best performing podcast that I had was with Yasir being in the same city. We did it
Online.
on online.
Yeah.
So I think it's the conversation that matters eventually.
Yeah.
And if you're able to vibe on through that conversation, I mean, do it,
Yeah.
man.
That's all matters.
Do it.
Man, okay. This is the last segment, which is fun
Yeah,
segment,
yeah.
where I'm gonna be asking you a few fun rapid fire questions, right?
Uh,
So you cannot take any time. The
mhm.
moment I ask the question, just have to respond, right?
Okay.
Please do not respond before the question. Just kidding. It is not that rapid,
Fair.
okay? Okay, cool. All right, I've got my questions right here. I cannot remember all of them. So, if a book was written on your life, what would be the title?
Becoming extraordinary.
I love it. Love it. The best piece of advice you've ever heard or received.
The ability to stay in a good mood and still get the work done is a very
Wow.
underrated skill.
The worst piece of advice you've ever heard or received.
Marks are everything.
I love it. I love it. Okay, the best piece of advice on cracking any job interview.
Double down on your strengths
Mhm.
and practice all your answers before you get into the room.
The worst advice on getting any job interview.
विंगिंग इट मैं देख लूंगा अगर देख
Ah.
लूंगा और एटीट्यूड से जाओगे ना जिंदगी ऐसी ऐसी चीजें दिखाएंगी जो देखी नहीं जाएंगी
I love it. I love it. Okay. An advice you would give to your younger self, younger Chirag.
uh, don't quit, man. Rejections are part of the game. More rejections than yeses.
Yeah, cool. If you lost everything today, what would you start with?
Communication again. I mean,
Okay.
that's the thing, right? I mean, that's my biggest strength. I feel that how I'm able to connect with people. I'll figure out. I'll double down on my strength. Find the right
Mm.
people. I
Yeah,
think investing in people. So people over portals, people over everything. People, even AI is not. You know, AI is important, but still, people is the most important thing. Focus on people. That's what I do.
absolutely. Would you still do what you're doing right now if it wasn't for money?
100%. Finally, after a 15-year pivot, I'm doing things that I absolutely want to do. And I have bigger goals for 2026. So, this is exactly what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And, Extraordinary with Chirag, as much as it's about helping people create extraordinary careers, it is also me trying to find
Mm.
that essence within me, that extra, which makes me go from ordinary to extraordinary. So, this is as much my journey as anybody else's.
I love it. I love it. According to you, what has been the most defining moment of your career so far?
Quitting a very cushy, well-paying job at BMW Canada and taking a leap of faith and doing what I do right now.
Hmm. Incredible. Okay. If you could go back in time and meet the younger Chirag, what would you tell him?
Um, that it is not that difficult. Don't let one moment define you, or
Yeah.
don't let that one failure define you. Because the story is that I wanted, you remember there was this thing which is started back in the day, search for Harsha, and
Yeah.
that's what I had gone for, and I didn't get it. And I thought that my career in that particular field was over, because also I was carrying that baggage of not being a good student and then not being able to prove into that one audition that I had gone for. So I was like, यार अगर मैं और चला जाऊंगा तो फिर मैं failure बन ही जाऊंगा. So I would let me reframe that. I won't give a fuck about other people's opinion about me.
Hmm.
So I'd say just do what you want to do and don't give a shit about what people have to say. They, anyways, some will say good things, some will say bad things.
Love it. Love it. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you want to do?
I would now or back in the day. Now, I'm guessing
Like
that's
now,
more.
now.
Now, if I couldn't fail, I mean, I don't think I can. I'm doing exactly what I'm doing, man, right now.
Okay.
And when will I fail if I stop doing it?
Hmm.
Which I'm not.
Love it.
Because what will happen is that I keep getting this. You and I follow each other on our social media accounts, and I keep sharing the small little wins that I get.
Yeah.
So, when people reach out, so imagine this, man, that I'd put out a story recently that somebody had sent this to me saying that I saw one of your videos and I went and saw all your videos after that. I
Yeah.
have been without a job, and you have no idea how much your content is helping me. I
Wow.
had never, yeah, I got a very fancy, paycheck and a promotion when I was at BMW, and it gave me a lot of validation that I could go and spend that money, but that
Yeah.
satisfaction was nowhere close to this. And
Yeah.
this is something that I keep getting on a regular basis. So I feel that I'm creating more of an impact.
Hmm.
As Harmozi says, that within a few years of us popping it, whenever that is, everybody forgets about us. But I feel that now at least I will be able to have made a difference in a lot of lives, that at some level they'll realize that, yeah, man, Chirag played a part,
Hmm.
even however small it was, in
Yeah.
helping me get to
Hmm.
where I am today. And if I'm able to do that, that's my legacy.
Amazing. One book you would like to suggest are, people who can that will help them improve their speaking skills and likability.
Can I? Oh, okay. The book that I would recommend is, I think, Atomic Habits.
Okay.
It's not going to help in terms of
Communication.
communication skills as much, but I think it will just help in terms of being able to create systems
Hmm.
that set you up for success, which is very important.
Right,
And
right.
in order to improve your communication skills, I can recommend two. One, they should give you a follow. That
Hmm.
will help them significantly. And that's something that, and I'm not saying this because you and I are having that conversation. I see the kind of work that you do, and I see the passion with which you do it. So definitely that.
Thank you.
And for me, I think the one podcast that everybody should absolutely listen to is two, in fact. One is Diary of a CEO.
Yes.
There is not the one which came this year, but in 2024, end of the year, there was one podcast with Vanessa Van Adverts
Oh
and
man.
Stephen Bartlett, where she's
Yeah.
wearing a blue top. That is the one that you should be wearing, seeing, because there are lots of nuggets there.
I love
And
that
I,
podcast. Yeah.
right, that's amazing. And the one from this year, which has been my gospel, and I read, sorry, I watch it for communication, life skills, business, everything, is Naval Ravikant with
Ravikant.
this one, Chris Williamson, Modern Wisdom. I think it's a three and a half hour podcast.
Hmm.
Sachin, the best podcast of 2025. I have visited that at least 4 or 5 times, and I'm going to watch it one more time before the year
Wow.
ends. The kind of clarity that they give, the kind of communication style that they have, and talk about happiness, success, productizing yourself, how to go about setting up systems, clarity, everything. That's like the best podcast.
Amazing. Let me ask you the best question, okay? Oh, shit, I forgot. I can't find. Okay, here's the best question. How's the podcast?
Loved it, man. This is amazing. I mean, I've had such a great time talking to you. I think this is I hope that this is the same vibe that I see because I will be watching your podcast closely. That it's the communication
Yeah.
wherein I want to see you shine as much in all those conversations as much as the guests as well because you are doing such a fantastic job and I loved having a chat with you. Hopefully, we'll get to do one in person as well
Yeah, I'd
once
love
I'm
that.
in
I'd
Delhi.
love that. Sure. Thank you, man. Okay, for the last thing, how can people find you on social media?
My You can find me on Instagram, extraordinary with Chirag
Hmm.
at that's my Instagram handle,
Hmm.
extraordinary with Chirag, and
Hmm.
then the same Instagram handle is on YouTube, and the same handle on YouTube
Hmm.
and on LinkedIn. So you'll be finding me a lot more active on LinkedIn in 2026 as well because it's a job search platform and I want to
It
reach
is.
out to the target audience
It is.
there as well. But
Hmm.
I have a small YouTube channel as well, and I'm there on Instagram, so that's how people can get in touch with me. Extraordinary with Chirag is the
Amazing.
handle.
The last question, why people should watch your contents?
Hey, you wanna land jobs that sorry, I'll just give you this thing. You wanna build a career that you absolutely love,
Hmm.
and the fact that that's the reason why you should watch my content because I will give you actionable tips.
Yeah.
मैं ज्ञान नहीं देता. I will tell you things that you can copy,
Yeah.
paste it, and apply it to your job search immediately. That's what makes my advice different. That's what I feel. And the other thing is that the reason why you should also come along on the journey is because if you're really struggling, what makes my coaching method unique and training unique is the fact that I stick with you in the bang middle when starting
Hmm.
is easy, ending is easy.
Yeah.
Middle is the boring, gruesome part where things
100%.
fall
Yeah.
off. That's where I hold your hand. And believe you me, I will put in so much of confidence and pump in so much of confidence in you that you're gonna go and shine. So it's not a short term journey. I'm not just talking about okay, I'll help you land this job and tomorrow on you're on your own. No, the
Mhm.
idea is to set you up for success in your entire future, man. So that's the
Amazing.
reason.
I love it, man. I'm telling you, this was one of the best conversations I've ever had.
Absolutely.
It
Likewise.
it like felt like this two-way conversation, right? And thank you for allowing me to share something as well, because I know it was about you, but the way we talked about everything, it was just fantastic. So thank you for your time, bro. And it was incredible. So, folks, I hope you love the podcast. And if there is one guy that I can count on when it comes to interview skills and helping you crack your dream job, that's Chirag. So please go and follow him right now and connect with him, get on a call with him, and I'm sure you will get the best out of him. Thank you so much. I hope you love the podcast, and I will see you in the next episode of Every Story Matters. Thank you very much. Thank you, man.
Thank you. This